All right. So, what's happening, everybody? Episode 462 of the podcast. Welcome to BD4. I'm your host, RJ, and thank you for stopping by. So, as you could tell, this episode, we're getting back to the Yankees. It's been a few weeks since we discussed the Yankees. Well, not much has happened, right, since then. But we haven't really talked it over in a while with one of our frequent guests, Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast. So what we did was we set up a conversation, and we just had it. So this episode, 462 here, we're going to get into that interview where Greg and I just shoot the shit about the Yankees offseason and what we think they did right, wrong, what we expect going forward. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. There's going to be no two parts for this one. It's just going to be the interview or the conversation. It's more of a conversation. And that'll be that. All right, so welcome to the show. Let's get into it, and I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome to BD4, an RJ Carbone podcast. BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. BD4 is a 5-star show on Apple Podcasts, also available in video format on YouTube and Spotify. So thanks for stopping by, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Champion of the world, turning, looking, see ya! Anthony for three, bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied! Time!
Penetrates, creates, and showing some dexterity as well with the left hand.
Yankees win!
All right, welcome to episode 462 of BD4. I am your host, RJ Carbone. It is Saturday, January 7th, as I record this, and as this episode is out, well, it should be out by Sunday the 8th. I will drop it tonight or tomorrow morning, Sunday the 8th. So yeah, welcome to the show. We are talking Yankees in this one. We're going to go over the Yankees offseason with Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast, who's been on the show multiple times by now. So yeah, that's going to be it. We'll get into that. So let's just wrap this part up right now. We'll get to our trivia question right here, and then we'll head right into the episode and waste no time, all right? So let's get to our trivia question of the day. Yes. All right. So for episode 462, our NYY-NYK-MMA trivia question of the day. It's another true or false. True or false? Derek Jeter ranks outside the top 10 in Yankees history for home runs hit. Is that true or false? True or false? Derek Jeter ranks outside the top 10 in Yankees history for home runs hit. One final time, true or false? Derek Jeter ranks outside the top 10 in Yankees history for home runs hit. So yeah, once again, before we wrap this one up, just want to say thank you for stopping by. Episode 462. And yeah, in this episode, we're just giving a little bit of an update of our thoughts on this Yankees 2022-23 offseason. The way it's gone. We talk, we go around the diamond, talk about some of the acquisitions this offseason, talk about what we think they should do, they shouldn't do, and whatnot. All right, so you can find Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast on social media, his Instagram. I'll have it in the description, or if you're watching the video format of the podcast, it's also on the screen down on the ticker below. He's on Instagram, he's on Twitter, he's on Facebook, and of course his podcast, Yankee Crazy Podcast, where you can listen to it. That'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your pods. So with that said, let's get right into the episode 462, where Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast and I talk about this Yankees offseason. And let's get to it. Just unmute your mic and then you're good.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
How we doing?
Good. How about you? I was going to get a better background.
Oh, you do whatever. You got time.
Let's
Fine,
see. Where's the background stuff? I like it when it's blurred because the angle I have it on right now obviously looks horrible. Do you know where that is?
It should be like in the top right. There should be settings.
Blur my background.
And then blur. Yeah. There you go.
There we go. Nice. How's it going, man? Happy New Year.
You too, man. Happy holidays and all that. How was the holiday season down there?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, lots of fun, lots of indulging on things, and some relaxing. How about you? Did you get that PS5?
I actually did. Yeah, I ordered it.
Nice.
Yeah, like a month ago, and it came not long. It's really fun. It's trying not to get too addicted like I used to back in my high school days, but it's fun.
Yeah, cool. My son just got Call of Duty, which we're like, I don't know if this was a good thing getting him Call of Duty, but man, the graphics are just ridiculous, and that's a PS4, and so I know PS5 is even better.
It's crazy how because I've played video games my whole life, dude, and just seeing the progression over time and how technology advances, it's insane.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing where it's come from.
Yeah, man. So I figured we'd just run over how the off season has gone so far. And then we'll start with that. And it's obviously been pretty quiet on there, and I mean obviously they made some moves here and there, but so I guess to start off, we will talk about the first signing this offseason, which was Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
They gave him $40 million back in, I don't know, it was like maybe a month after the season or something. They gave him $40 million to come back for 2 years, I believe it was. So what do you think about that deal?
I think it's great. I love Rizzo. I love his leadership. He played really well. Yeah. He's one of the guys that they're saying with the shift now who's going to benefit a lot. So hopefully you see that average go up a little bit and, even more production, but he was great. I think he's a great leader on that team. So I'm excited for him to be back for his offense and his defense, which is just, he is saved. I would love to know the stats on, run saved and all those analytics on his defense, but I know it's solid. So I'm excited. Glad that he is back.
Yeah, I was going to mention that they're taking away the shift. So I think that's really going to help him. He had a productive year last year. He still produced a lot of runs. He maybe 25 or actually I think he hit like 30 something home runs. So
he tied his high, which was like 34, 32, somewhere 32. In there, with maybe more. Was it 35? I can't remember, but it was a great year for him.
Yeah, I think it was 32.
That sounds right. Sounds right.
So he was right there. He was having a good year. But I think if they, with the shift going away, he's obviously a guy who hits a lot of line drives to that right side. I really think that could benefit him, turn him into more of a hitter, which is who he's been most of his career, and help him pick up some extra doubles and singles here and there. Could really raise the average, maybe 10 or 15 points. But I'm excited to bring him back. Obviously, the bat, the lefty bat, the power, the defense at first base is the biggest thing for me. Like you said, saving multiple runs. He's obviously a great veteran leader in that clubhouse. The guys like him. he's back, and he produced for them in the playoffs, man. And that's the one thing Yankees fans are never going to forget. If you do something in October for them, they're going to remember that. So I have no problem bringing him back for $40 million. I even think there's a third option in there, team option for year 3 or something like that. But
I think you're right.
I'm excited to have him. And then obviously not too long ago, Aaron Judge, the Yankees bring him back on a 9-year deal worth $360 million. There was obviously a lot of chaos that night and the next morning between John Heyman, announcing that Aaron's evil cousin Arson will be joining the Giants. Turns out that Aaron will not be going to the Giants, and he's going to be coming back to the Yankees. So what are your thoughts on that deal? How you like it? How you think it's going to shape up?
Oh, man. Yeah, just talking about that.
Yeah,
that incorrect tweet going out with the Arson Judge, and I was refreshing my phone on Twitter, like I think half of America was, for 45 minutes to see what was going on. And oh man, that was some drama. And that was, I think it really hit all Yankee fans, like, wow, he could be gone. And it made him even more valuable than I think people were thinking at the time. They were, it was like, it was a shock. So really glad he's back. It was a critical move that they had to do. So if they would have lost Judge, it would have been really hard to recover from, not only from a team standpoint, but a fan base standpoint. So many people would have been really, really angry about it. But don't have to worry about that. He is back in pinstripes. And you just, obviously last year was a monster season. Is he going to hit 62 home runs again? The odds are stacked against him on that. But even if he comes back and gives you 50 home runs and has another solid season, it's incredible. And his leadership, and they name him captain. I'm excited about it. It would have been a really big hole in that lineup if he wasn't in there. So it's just great news. Great news. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him this year. But it was critical. They would have gotten a lot of abuse from fans, media, everybody if he didn't come back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if they didn't bring him back and they didn't do anything, like there really wasn't an option. Like you had to do it. Considering the guy hit 60 plus home runs for you. He's been healthy the past several seasons. He was their only their only player in the second half of that year. So you had to bring him back. It's a deal it's a lot of money for his age and whatever. You're the Yankees, you got the money. You're not, I think you worry about that stuff later on the back end of the deal. And you hope that the bonus comes, sometime between now and the next 4 years or so while he's still at his peak. And like you said, he's probably not going to hit 62 home runs again. No, that's, really hard to do. But if he goes out there and he hits you 40 plus home runs and stays healthy and just continues to be that power at the top of the lineup. And of course, he plays great outfield. Center field, right field, wherever you ask him, he'll do it. So, yeah, he's developed as into one of their leaders, and obviously, I want to segue into that. They named him captain. That was good. I think that needed to happen as well. So, what are your thoughts on Judge being captain?
I think it's a great move. Like everybody said, he was already the unofficial captain in that clubhouse. So to make it official, I think it's great. I think maybe even that could have been part of the, not negotiations per se that he wanted it, but maybe that was something else that Hal Steinbrenner threw in there to kind of sweeten it. Although you hear all the stories that he never wanted to leave New York. He wanted to get it done. So probably wasn't even necessary to do that, but I think it was time for the Yankees to have another captain, and no one better than him to do it. He is the face of the franchise, debatable that he is the face of MLB, or at least, you got to say top 3 in that in that conversation. So I love it. I think it's great. And, who knows, with that title of captain, maybe he even becomes more of a leader. Maybe I think he took it on himself anyway, but now that it's official, maybe he even steps it up a notch and does even more in the clubhouse and more of a leadership role. So it's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love that Jeter was there at the press conference, kind of the passing of the captainship or whatever you want to call it. So I love that move. And Willie Randolph, who was a captain, he was there too. So you had two captains. Would have been great if Don Mattingly didn't sign with the Toronto Blue Jays and had some part of the Yankees organization and could have been there. But he isn't. It was still great. And I love it. I'm excited. I am really excited to see what he does. And if he wasn't on the team, like you just brought up in that second half, who knows if the Yankees even win the division, because he was the only guy playing at a high level in those really bad dog days of August. So it is just something to look forward to, and him taking even a further step in his career and having a hopefully a monster season again with the Yankees.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fine with it. I never go too crazy about the captain stuff either. Whatever happens, but I think it makes perfect sense. What's funny, man? I'm gonna show my age in this one, but they were saying that there have been 15 captains in Yankees history, and I swear to God, I thought there was like maybe one or two before Jeter. I had no idea they had that many captains. So I was kind of embarrassed to hear that. I had no idea.
Well, even, I didn't even know there were that many when they started listing them all, because, I knew obviously Jeter, I knew Mattingly, Greg Nettles, who's still my all-time favorite Yankee, was the captain of the team for a couple of years. You had Willie Randolph, and Munson, right? I think Munson was a captain as well. But then prior to that, they started naming, listing some other guys, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize they had that many. So it's great timing on the whole thing. And we'll see where this contract goes. But touch on that again with the contract. It seems that everybody in the MLB is just kind of throwing these contracts at these guys and sacrificing the last couple of years. These guys want those extra years, and teams are like, okay, we'll give you those extra years. If in the last, 3, it's not that much production, then so be it. Because that would be great if he could give you 6 solid years, and then the last 3, maybe it's like, not so great, declining, whatever. It's still a good contract, because in 6 to 7 years, guys are going to be making even more money than that. So, it's a lot of money right now. You look at it per year, but come 6 years from now, who knows what guys are going to be making. So it'll, you just got to hope you get some championships out of it. That's obviously the big thing, but we shall see.
That's a good point too, that like the market's going to keep going up, and years and years from now, it's going to keep like 20 million used to be a ton to get in a season.
Right.
Now 20 million is like average for an all-star level guy.
Because the Giancarlo Stanton deal, when he came here, what is he make 25, 27, something like that?
Like that. Yeah.
Like that's cheap now for somebody.
And I noticed,
obviously we've seen his decline, but he still is an impact player. So it's actually a bargain right now, especially if he comes back, has a good season.
And I noticed that with a lot of these contracts lately that guys have been getting, I think they're loading a lot of it up on the front end. So the back end for a lot of these guys is kind of easier to maneuver. If they're not as productive in the back end of the deal, you can easily move it. I don't know what the Judge thing is. I know it's 40 million average, but I'm not sure where the money, how they spread it out, but whatever. It's what they needed to do. And again, my one ask is that he starts producing in the only month that really matters. Which, I saw that stat that I sent you about Judge in the last 3 years in the postseason.
Yeah.
Very bad. But I went and looked
Mhm.
at the first half of his career. He's had some moments. The first 3 years of his postseason career were actually pretty productive. And so I'm hoping he can find something. It's not all lost hope. So I just hope that he eventually starts producing when it matters. And I think that's something you just got to bank on and hope that comes. But yeah, I'm happy with the contract.
Yeah,
I want to
and
move.
with those playoffs. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
With those playoffs and the stats. After the season, was talking with my brother Raj, who I really respect his insights on baseball, and he was saying, and I would love to go back and actually look at it because I can't remember it in the heat of the playoffs. But he was saying, you look at, I think he brought up about 4 at bats with Judge, and he said he just missed a couple. And I know he missed a home run really close, that whole roof issue with the roof closed there or not closed. So with something like that, let's say he's right. Let's say there's 3 at bats that he could have made, could have had hits or a major impact, and that could have turned his whole playoffs around. If he would have had those 3 key hits, and we look back and say, well, he produced really well because he had these big hits. So if that's true, and they say baseball is a game of inches, and just misses, you could be a fraction of an inch off, which he was on that home run, and countless guys are. But we'll see if that really is the case, and he can put it together and capitalize on those just misses in the future. Then that's great. We'll see. Obviously, you can't.
Yeah.
It can't go well. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. That doesn't do
Right.
anything. But it was promising to hear that, because I was down on him too. Like, oh man, he's gotta produce. And you wonder about if the home run, trying to get that home run title was taxing on him, because he played a lot more than he usually did. I forget how many games in a row he did. But and I know mentally that had to be something, and having a contract sticking over your head, and and then you look back a couple of years, and how many times in the playoffs were the Yankees one and done with those wild cards. So I don't know if that factored into it. I know that factored into it as well. So who knows what that sample size is? We could go and look back at that, but yes, I completely agree. He's got to step it up in the playoffs. No excuses. Because he is that leader, and he leads the offense. So
yeah,
fingers crossed. He steps it up in the playoffs next year.
And I think now that he's making the big bucks, pressure's not going to lay off. Like it's just time to do it, man. I get the home run thing. He was great, but that's just the one thing that's still going to be in the back of my mind. He's got to start doing it. But again, I'm not going to press on that too much. He's back. We need him. That's good. I want to go to the infield, because it's a very interesting, a lot of things tie together. Like, obviously we didn't for another year, we didn't go after any of the top flight shortstops. We got a lot of things. It feels like there's no set positions for a lot of guys. You still, I don't know what the deal with DJ is. From what I hear, doesn't need the surgery. So that's a good thing. Are you expecting a healthy season, a bounce back season from him? What do you think? What's going to happen with DJ? Where is he going to play?
Yeah, over the last week, I had read somewhere that he was good to go. The toe is not an issue. He's fully healthy, going to be ready for spring training. That's great news. He needs a bounce back season. He had his moments last year where you could see the old DJ from a couple of years ago. But that toe issue, it's like, come on, and he's, what is he, 33, maybe turning 34 this year. He's, time's running out. As these guys get older, they only get hurt more and more. So he needs to be healthy. I'm such a big DJ fan. Yeah. Need him in the lineup. Love having him in the lineup. Would love to see him, in a perfect world, playing third base or second base. I know we've got Glaber there, and all the rumors swirling with him leaving, getting traded, whatever. I would much rather have Donaldson gone than Glaber. Move DJ over to third base. Infield, you got to go with Peraza. You are holding on to this guy forever. All these shortstops, you got to give him a shot this year. I think this IKF signing is nice if he is a bench player, because he can play third base as well, but no more shortstop. The IKF experiment needs to end. And then you got the potential of Volpe coming up. So we'll see. And, there's still time to make some more moves. Yankees made that move for Donaldson so late in the year. So you could, that was was that during spring training? Because it was, I remember him showing up in spring training. They had him like walking in the door. I think that was like a really late deal to get done. So hopefully the Yankees aren't done, because I still think there's more pieces that need to happen. But my ideal infield would be, as of this moment right now, Rizzo, Glaber, Peraza, DJ.
Rizzo, Glaber, Peraza, DJ. I like that. And yeah, I mean, I would try to trade Glaber for like some relief pitching or something. I think he had a nice bounce back season. He rebounded well. To me, it's just with him, there are way too many lulls. Like, he'll go in these valleys. He'll have his peaks for sure, but I think what the Yankees need to do is, and we've talked about this multiple times, is go away from those streaky hitters. Need to get some more consistency. And it also just opens you up and makes you more flexible, because you have both Peraza and Volpe. You still got to figure out what you want to do with Cabrera. Where is he going to run? So, if DJ is healthy. So there's a lot of things. But I think Rizzo, obviously, he's at first. If Torres is traded, I would try doing a Peraza Volpe middle infield, second and short. But if he's here, and right now he is here, you have Rizzo, Glaber, Peraza. Volpe's probably going to, spend some time in AAA to start the season. And then at third base, I mean, you got to find a way to either eat Donaldson's contract or get somebody to get it. Yeah, it's because I can't do another year of him, man. He's going to be 37. He's just, it's not like he's a guy who just had a bad year. He's a guy who's old. So there's not, there's not really hope for a bounce back. That's what happens when you get older. You stop producing. So I think you do. You go with DJ, and you hope that DJ can stay healthy. And then the only thing, man, I want Cabrera to get at bats.
Yeah.
I want him to get everyday at bats. So I would say, at the same time, like, because that ties in with left field, Right. I don't want to waste them in one spot. To me, I feel like Cabrera is the guy who should be playing every position you need him to fill, be that glue guy, and just rotate around the diamond. So if you put him in left field, you take that versatility away. But again, that means you're probably going Hicks. So what do you think about the whole third base left field thing with Cabrera? Where do you think they're going to go there?
I think that they love him moving all around the infield. They keep talking about, I'm blanking on that guy. He played for the Cubs. He played for the Rays. He was like the super utility guy.
Zobrist?
Yes, because I remember, I think they even tried to get him when he was in his prime. And I think it's a very valuable thing to have someone like that. And, as I laugh about Aaron Boone saying the Swiss knife, that's what I think Cabrera is going to be for them. And they love giving guys rest days. And to have a guy who can play right field, left field, third, short. Did he play second this year? I think he played second last season.
He probably can.
So having a guy like that is incredible. He could probably play first base too. He's a super athletic guy, and I like that. But you got to make it consistent. Like, he's got to be playing. For me, 5 days a week. Move him around. It seems like he was, okay with not knowing where he was in like one solid position. And it gives them that versatility to give guys rest days, move guys around, let a guy DH and let him play the position. So I think they're going to do that. If they were to put him in left field and said, okay, you're our starting left fielder, I wouldn't mind it. I'd be like, okay, I still think he is valuable for that bounce around. But and I think ultimately that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I would hope that they have him rotating every day at whoever's resting. He'll play that position and he'll find his way to get his 500 at bats. I think that's my plan too. And then if that's the deal, I'm still not going with Aaron Hicks in left field. I think they really got to try to make this trade for Reynolds now. I think Brian Reynolds is the guy. You got to find out. You got some prospects to deal. I think you do it. It really hurts, dude, that they didn't get Benintendi. That really hurt me.
Yeah, I would have liked to have Benintendi back. He came over, started off slow, but then he started to click, and he was really missed in the playoffs. And I loved having him. With top of the order guy on base. Not a lot of pop, but with the short porch in right field, probably gets a couple more home runs than if he was playing anywhere else. So, and great defense. So that was a miss. That was a tough one to see him go to the White Sox for not even that much money. But, they had all the rumors. He didn't love living in New York. He wanted to go to a smaller market. He wanted to go back to KC was one of the things. So it was tough. Brian Reynolds is a guy who I have kind of, heard about, and over the past couple of years, probably had sent you a couple of text messages saying, we got to trade to get him. And that was before Bader came over.
Right.
I like him. And, there's pros and cons for him. A lot of, you read positive stuff about him, you read negative stuff about him, but I feel like he could be the kind of guy like Paul O'Neill. When Paul O'Neill was traded from the Reds, he was a solid player and he just excelled in New York. And I feel like Brian Reynolds could, maybe not be as good as Paul O'Neill, but could come over here, have just a lesser role, playing every day in left field, not a lot of pressure, hit towards the back of the lineup, and be one of those like sneaky guys who can produce a lot in that position. And I would love to see it. And at this point now, there's a lot of names out there. The only thing is that the Pirates are asking for a lot, supposedly. Jason Dominguez, who is, they say can't miss, but we know these prospects. You never know what's going to happen. But I think they wanted Peraza as well. There were some rumors circulating, and I think they wanted like 5 prospects. And I don't know. It's a tricky move. It's like, one top prospect in there and you get a couple of other medium ones, then make the deal. But if they want like 3 of the top prospects of the Yankees or more, then I say, don't do it and go out and get somebody in free agency. Because I know there's a few other names out there who are still available, but I'm not sure as good as Brian Reynolds, because the Pirates are in a position like, we'll see what we can get for him, but we don't have to do anything because he still has like 2 years of control. We'll see.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy, dude, how like you're the New York Yankees and it seems like every season we're going into a year with a gap at one position? It's like, that shouldn't be the case, man.
I know. And I had on Twitter account had put out there saying, I thought it was pathetic that with a system like the Yankees, you can't just bring someone up and be like, okay, you're in left field. I know Cabrera is, it was really an infielder. They got lucky putting him in the outfield. And, what I was trying to say, and a lot of people said, oh, what about Cabrera? But my point was, there is no true outfielder that in their system that you could be like, okay, this is your job going into spring training. You're going to compete for it, but you've got the edge on it. And, some people say Florial, but they don't like him for some reason. I didn't see greatness from him, but it was a very small sample size for Florial. They're still floating his name out there as a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't see it, But I wouldn't be against him trying to get a shot. But, to not have like a can't miss guy, like, they say Dominguez, and then there's, is it Pereira is another guy who I don't know, have a lot of information on, but I agree with you. It's there's a gap somewhere, and you're like, we're in January now, and it's still a big question mark. It's just, it's not good for the Yankees.
Yeah. I was listening to Talking Yanks, John Boyd, the other day, and they were talking about some guy, Ortega, who might get a shot. They made a move for him the other day. He's like a 31-year-old journeyman, but he's got like lefty power, and he lifts the ball in the air. I don't know much else, but
I did not hear about that one. I heard the rumors of trading for Ian Happ. There was the rumor of, what's his name? I don't know if I'm getting his first name or last name. Profar Jurickson. I don't know much about him either. The Diamondbacks have some outfielders that Toronto just got one of them who is seems like a good, not more than a prospect. Seems like he's going to slot in there in their outfield. And they supposedly have a lot there. So maybe something happens with them and they, we get somebody to take a risk on. But yeah, it's need somebody out there. Would love someone who was like a no doubter. Like you're like, okay, great. Like Benintendi. Like if they had got Benintendi, been like, great, slot him in left field. Perfect. Let's go.
That was the move, man. And if they don't get Reynolds, they're probably going to have a lot of inconsistency at that spot. I feel like Reynolds is the last true hope to find somebody who can solidify that spot. That's the lineup. That's the diamond. That's my biggest question mark heading into every postseason. I still feel like they haven't done nearly enough to fix their flaws. It's not my favorite thing. I don't have a lot of hope when it comes to this lineup. Strikeouts, home runs, they're going to put up numbers in the regular season. But when it comes to hitting elite pitching in postseason ball, it never seems to happen. But the good thing is that we went out and improved our very solid rotation and made it even better. Yeah. The Carlos Rodon signing a couple weeks back was big. I love it. I'm excited for him. And I think if this Yankee rotation is healthy, which is always a big if, it can be top three, maybe even the very best in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. That was such a big move and solidified that rotation. Cole, like you said, everybody's got to stay healthy, but on paper, it looks fantastic. You got Cole, you've got Rodon, you've got Nestor, Sevy, and then fifth, if he can bounce back, hopefully, Frankie Montas, maybe he wasn't healthy at the end of the year, which he wasn't. He had that injury. He came over, had injuries with Oakland as well. But if he can just be decent as a fifth starter, that's a great rotation. And like you said, everybody stays healthy. I am really excited for that. And the Yankees, over the past couple of years, their pitching actually has been really good. It is the clutch hitting in the postseason that is been the determining factor. And you look at that lineup and, it's good right now, but it's not like scary good. You're not like, oh, wow, this is a dominating lineup. They need to make these moves. And, especially third base, they got to get Donaldson out of there. I never want to see Hicks again in there. You hope that they go with Peraza over IKF at shortstop and he progresses and takes a step. He looked really good. I think he is MLB ready and has to get that opportunity. The other thing I was thinking about going back to left field and Florial is, last year stuck with Joey Gallo for how many games? They kept running that guy out there. And it's like, Florial should have been getting the shot, or someone else should have been getting the shot. You had Joey Gallo out there and he was showing them that he is not good. And imagine if, Florial probably could have been just as good as him, or just as bad as him, I should say. But maybe that would have been great experience for him and maybe he would have taken the step. But it was, it was kind of maddening with that whole thing. But yeah, you got to make some more. You got to make some moves so that you put someone in this lineup or two people in this lineup that are, a little bit more deadly than IKF, who was, solid, but you need more production. He's more of like the role player backup.
Yeah, he's not a starter.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we talked about the lineup, the rotation. The bullpen, I think it's pretty much the same minus Litke and Tommy Canley's back. But overall, if you were to grade, before we wrap this up, we only got a couple minutes before they kick me off.
Yes.
If you were to grade the offseason overall, just real quick with like a letter grade, A to F, what are you giving it? I'm going to say like a C+.
Yeah, I'm at C plus B minus right now, because you look, Rizzo solid, bringing Judge back solid. Rodon was great. I think that's the best move of the whole season for them. And you need something else. And you keep hearing the rumors of, oh, they're not done yet. They're not done. And, they got, interestingly, bringing these other GMs in as advisors, ex-GMs as advisors, Sabian and Omar Minaya, who, I don't know, Omar Minaya with the Mets was a little shaky from what I can recall. He had his issues over there, but maybe he's going to be a good advisor. I know he's very good with the Latin American players and development. So maybe he can find somebody, through those channels for the Yankees that can make an impact. But overall, like we keep saying, you got to bring in another guy who is going to be a no doubter and bring a little bit more ferocity to this lineup. Because right now, like, I don't know, I keep saying it, it looks good, but you want something more solid than that.
Yeah, it just seems top heavy again. Like, you got your guys that you're gonna hit, are going to hit, like Judge, Stanton, Rizzo.
Yeah.
And then a couple others, Bader.
Yeah.
But
now we get a full season out of Bader. So he produced in the playoffs, one of the only guys. But yeah, you look at that lineup and it gets down towards like middle end, and it's kind of like, a lot of things got to go right to make it a really potent lineup.
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap it up, I got one question for you. I need you to answer. Trivia, a little pop quiz. You get one at bat here.
Okay.
So, we talked about Judge's home run record. I got a question for you. In 1961, when Roger Maris hit his 61st home run.
Yes.
Do you remember which team it came against? And I'll give you two options. All right, I'll give you multiple choice. Was it A, the Boston Red Sox, or B, the Detroit Tigers?
Trying to think, with all the Judge hype, I remember them talking about it and him hitting that home run. So I should know this. And I think it's not the Red Sox. I would have to say the Tigers, because I feel like I would have remembered if it was the Red Sox. I'm going to say Tigers.
It was the Red Sox, which is crazy.
Wow. Wow, I can't believe that. Like I was saying, they talked about it so much with Judge chasing Maris, and I just felt like it wasn't the Red Sox. Wow. They're such a good memory I have.
Sorry, that's a tough one. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Always good. And I'll have this up soon. So I appreciate you coming on, Greg, from Yankee Crazy.
All right. Yeah, thanks again, Rob. Always love coming on here and talking with you. Appreciate it, man.
All right. So that was episode 462 here of the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, that was Greg Gill from Yankee Crazy Podcast. You can find his podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, many more listening platforms. That's Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast. And you can find him on social media. He's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. That'll be in the description. And if you're watching the video format of the podcast, it's on the screen right now, on the bottom of the ticker. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate each and every one of you for doing so. Yankees are starting up, and camp begins in about a month, which is insane to me. That shit always flies by, especially once you get to Christmas time, like late December. It just starts to go by. But hope you enjoyed the show, and that's that. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I will see you guys in episode 463, where we'll be back with the Knicks recapping Monday night's game. All right? That's it, fellas. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.